What are your teams seeing on the ground in regard to psychological effects of all of this trauma and what's being done to help?
It's enormous. It really eclipses, any rhetoric that I think anyone has at this stage. We do a lot of work with children, and you hear children as they're being driven around the Gaza Strip, or having to ride a donkey cart around the Gaza Strip, or having to carry canisters of water heavier than they are, talk about things that no child ever should. They have experienced levels of fear that are extraordinarily difficult to overcome. They have had every single so-called pillar of stability in their life completely taken away from them. And that is going to have a long-lasting, severely debilitating impact on their ability to move forward in life, unless, of course, we are able to provide them with the mental health and psychological support that they need. But you have, children who have witnessed in front of them complete and total horrors. I remember on my first trip into Gaza, over a year ago, I met a mother who came over and was absolutely beside herself because her little boy, who was 7 years old, she was saying, was rocking back and forth every single night, pulling his hair out and shrieking. And he was doing this because he had witnessed his little sister's head pop off because of the impact and pressure from an explosion. These are the things that children have been tragically, horrifically subjected to. And there is no sign of real childhood right now in Gaza. Yes, we and other organizations are trying to do the best that we can to set up makeshift education centers, to run these mental health and psychosocial activities, to give children the tools to cope. But you have to take into consideration that every single child in Gaza is suffering from severe and very deep and intense trauma. And despite all of our efforts, given, and this goes hand in hand with the lack of sufficient aid and stability, the vast majority of children still have to spend their days waiting in line for water, trying to help their parents clear rubble, scrounging through trash, looking for bits and pieces that can be used as a shelter, or maybe, resold twisted chunks of metal. And so restoring stability and a semblance of something that can at the very least appear to be, a childhood is something that is very vital moving forward. And one last point on that too, we need to talk about what the impact of sustained malnutrition is on a child's body. We had a deliberate starvation campaign of Gaza that lasted for months. One bout of malnutrition for a child under the age of 5 can cause long-term organ and brain development challenges. And so you also have this that the population there is facing, which again is another reason why we're all pressing for even more aid to get into Gaza so that we can begin to address and hopefully reverse some of the impacts of what has happened over the last 2 years.